Hi everybody, welcome to the Sun Racing preview of York Day 3 and 4 of the York Ebor meeting. Plenty of exciting races to get through, as always, on the final 2 days of this wonderful extravaganza. I am Tom Bull, delighted to be joined by Steve Mullin, aka Templegate, and Jack Keane of Sun Racing to discuss the action. And we're going to kick off with the Nunthorpe, which of course sees Batash try and win the race for a second time in a row. He has looked at the world's greatest sprinter for the last couple of years. Can he do it? Templegate, come to you first. Is there anything that can take him on, or do you think he looks pretty bulletproof?
No, there's nothing that can take him on. I've just been speaking to the bookies for the trading floor column, and they said that our power's been really well backed. From 8-1 earlier in the week to much shorter 2-1 to 11-4 sort of mark now, and none of us can really understand why, because he's just got so much to make up with Batash. I mean, it must just be people trying to burgle the place money. So impressive this season, improved. We know he loves York. Doesn't have the crowd to put him off. I can't really see what goes wrong, and he's won on soft ground if the rain comes back, but I don't think there's an awful lot more forecast. And what's going to beat him? I mean, the race for second is quite fascinating, and I quite like Ali to nick second off our power. Thought a horse that's really improving at the moment, but everything's going to be lent behind Batash, surely.
Yeah, I would rather agree with you. Jack, are you in the same boat?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the sticky ground's not going to be ideal, but we've seen Batash over the years. He kind of goes on anything. So if he brings anything like his A game, he'll win. And it's kind of just picking one for the forecast. And I agree with Steve. I think Ali, he was probably worth more than the winning margin in Ireland last time. I thought he was kind of not very well positioned, but he picked up really strongly and won going away. So I think he's still probably got a little bit more to offer over 5 furlongs. But Batash is going to be very, very hard to beat. So for me, if you're going to have a punt, might just do the Batash Ali forecast, I think.
Yeah, echo those thoughts. Batash Ali for me as well. I was taken by that second horse's win in Ireland last time. Thought it was really impressive. But I think Batash is a good thing, just like you guys. Moving on now to the 215, the Weatherby's Hamilton Lonsdale Cup. All gets a bit more interesting now, as there's horses that aren't odds on, and you can make a case for more than one. So, first up, we've got Ebor for John Gosden and Jim Crowley. There's no Stradivarius this year. Taking on Nunthorpe Road for Mark Johnson. That horse is a really good second behind Stradivarius at Goodwood last time. Then there's Dashing Willoughby, Eagles by Day, Stratum, Who Dares Wins, and Withhold. A small but select field for this. Jack, come to you first here. Who do you fancy in this?
Oh, I think Nunthorpe Road's going to be the one to beat here. I mean, if you're looking at the bare bones of his form this year, he's won the Cigar at Newcastle pretty cosily, and then he's just finished second to Stradivarius both times. I mean, if you look at it very simply, you take Stradivarius out, then this is a great opportunity for him to get a big one on the board. It was a cracking run at Goodwood last time. The ground's drying out, which I think will be a plus. I think he is probably slightly better on a sounder surface. So I think he's going to be hard to beat. Again, Ebor is interesting, stepping up in trip. I think she's a much better filly on proper, decent, good to firm ground. So if it's still a bit sticky, that mightn't suit her. But just on those 2 runs alone, he sets the standard, and I think this is a good opportunity for him to win a big one.
Lovely stuff. I agree with you, Jack. Actually, I think Nunthorpe Road has got the form in the book in front of Santiago when he was giving an absolute ton of weight and still managed to get home in front of him behind Stradivarius at Goodwood. That form is the best piece for me as well. So I'll be sticking my hard on him too. Steve, what about you?
Yeah, it's a full house. I mean, my only concern with Nunthorpe Road is that it's had 2 quite hard races, you could say. I mean, but didn't feel the effects of the Ascot Gold Cup when it was like bottomless, wasn't it, last time at Goodwood? And don't forget, it did give Stradivarius a bit of a fright. I mean, he was well on top at the line, but, it did look a little bit iffy at one point. And that was a good field with Santiago, as you say. I think Nunthorpe Road, provided he hasn't had the legs run off him, I think he's improved so much. Be very hard to beat. Give it a word for Dashing Willoughby as well. I think this is a horse that's been going really well. Missed out on Goodwood. So if Nunthorpe Road is for any reason, knackered as it were, I think Dashing Willoughby could be the one to kick in. And I do agree about Ebor. Would love it top of the ground, I think.
Excellent stuff. 3 out of 3 there for Nunthorpe Road. Hopefully Andrea Adzani can continue his good record on the horse. 2:45. Moving on to the Al Basti Equine Dubai Gimcrack Stakes, Group 2 for 2-year-olds here. Now, it's an interesting race, this one, because you have two horses who have proven form at a high level, and You Better Believe It and Yazaman, taking on the more unexposed Mohawk King and Minzal. Then further down to Mystery Smile, Seven Brothers, and a few others. Templegate, I come to you first this time. Do you think the proven two have it between them, or do you think something else could come and grab them?
I think one of the proven two will take it. I'm quite keen on Yazaman. I thought that was a really good run. Glorious good within the Richmond Stakes, because I don't think the horse was particularly at home on the track and still did really well. I think York will suit a lot better. And one at a bit of a bigger price, not huge, but maybe still backable each way. I think Mystery Smiles was a bit cosy when winning at Chester last time. That race was on a long way out. I don't think he really enjoyed Chester that much, but still won really well. And I think another one will do better on the more conventional track. But I think Yazaman should go well for Willie Haggis.
Yazaman there for Willie Haggis over 6 furlongs. He is proven of that trip, of course. Jack, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'd want to be taking on Minzal and Mohawk King for all they look quite promising. But I'm quite a fan of this You Better Believe It Nigel Tinkler's horse. He clocked some incredibly quick sectionals at Donny when he opened his account in late June. And he built on that with a really decisive listed win at Sandown the other day. I think the runner-ups come out and run well, actually, in a race here earlier in the week. So there's a bit of substance to that form. The way he finished that race off suggests to me he wants 6 furlongs. I know Oshie Murphy, when he was interviewed after he won at Sandown, he said this is a very smart colt. And I know Nigel Tinkler thinks the world of him. So I think there's more improvement to come, and I think it could come over this 6 furlong trip. Yazaman obviously sets the standard, but I was a little bit disappointed with him at Goodwood. For all, he probably bumped into a good one who enjoyed a dream run up the stands rail, and he probably wasn't ideally positioned. But maybe his progress has just levelled out a little bit. So I still think You Better Believe It's got more to come. So I'd probably narrowly prefer him, and I think he's a bit of an each-way price as well.
Great stuff. It'd be great to see Nigel Tinkler with a really good horse. I'm going to stick with Yazaman. I'm just going to hope he breaks quicker than he did last time at Goodwood, because he could never get on terms with supremacy that day. But I think he's got the proven form over this trip, and I think that's important, particularly if the ground's easing up a little bit. So he'll do for me in the Gimcrack. Moving on to Saturday now, and we got some cracking races, headlined, of course, by the Sky Bet Ebor. 1 mile 3/4 for improving horses. Most of them is improving horses anyway, improving handicappers, I should say. We've got Deja, top of the weights. He's been in great form recently for Peter Chapel High. We've got Fujairah Prince, obviously won so well at Royal Ascot recently. He heads the market for Andrea Zeni and Roger Varian. Pablo Escobar, who got back on the score sheet last time, he's up there too. Pondus, we've got Monica Sheriff, who probably needs softer ground. Verdana Blue, and a few others, including True Self for Willie Mullins. And Trushan for Alan King. Templegate, comes to you. I mean, obviously, as usual, it's a ridiculously competitive race. Plenty of these are unexposed and haven't quite reached their ceiling yet. Which one takes your eye the most?
Yeah, it's another brilliant renewal, despite the drop in prize money. Most of them turned up who would have done anyway. A race where you talk about the favourites, I just can't get away from Fujairah Prince, though. It was so impressive at Ascot, and I remember putting them down in my notes, just Ebor straight away, on that day. And Roger Varian, he knows this is a horse that can't take a lot of races, so he's put him away. The old cliche, wrapping him up in cotton wool for this one. Okay, he's got more weight, but the old another cliche that you need a group class horse to win this, and I think he probably is a group class horse. The one I fear, and the one I'll also be having a savour on, is Pondus. Joseph O'Brien, a fantastic trainer. Okay, he's gets a bit of help, I know. But he's only had this horse a couple of times, and he was backed off the boards before a bit of a flat effort at Leopardstown last time. But I think a strong pace, because he pulls hard a bit. Jamie Spencer on board for a hold-up horse at York in the Ebor. People can give him abuse if it gets beat as your head coming late. They love it. But I think Pondus could run pretty well at a big price. But I just favour Fujairah Prince over that one.
Fujairah Prince for Templegate, and Pondus, obviously, in those famous colours for Joseph O'Brien, who does so well in foreign handicaps. Jack, what about you?
Fujairah Prince obviously got a very good chance. That was an incredibly impressive win at Ascot. Trushan, I'm a big fan of. Alan King is just having such a good season with his flat horses. And again, I think Pondus, he's He done very well last year for James Fanshawe. He kind of threatened to be a good horse, and maybe just the change of scenery going over to Ireland is going to make him, just take that extra step up that he threatened to take. But to be honest, if I'm going to have a little bet, I think I might have a few quid each way on True Self. She was where did she finish? I think she was 6th in this last year. She's off £2 lower this time. The ground was rattling quick last year. It was probably just a shade too fast for her. It's going to be good, no quicker than good on Saturday. She gets her first time tongue tie. She's down a little bit in the weights, and I think she's been laid out for this. She ran okay last time, so I'd back True Self each way, I think, for Willie Mullins, but it's going to be a really good race.
Absolutely, it really is. Yeah, as you say, first time headgear there could easily eke out a bit more improvement from her. I'm going to actually go with Fujaro Prince as well. It's not often I side with favourites in this kind of handicap because I think there's always value to be had, but I was just so blown away by that run at Ascot last time. I mean, he looks a proper group horse in the making, a possible cup horse for the future. I thought when I saw that race. And off 108, he could still be well handicapped, and he'll probably be up there with the pace, so I wouldn't have thought draw 12 would be too much of a worry. So he's my selection too in the Sky Bet Ebor.
Sorry, Billy, to interrupt. Just a quick shout out as well to Danger, I think he's got a good chance. And it's interesting that he's going to be running here for Phoenix. It'll be quite a story if he goes and wins.
Yeah, wouldn't it? I don't know what it'd be interesting to see what they would say after that, wouldn't it? But yeah, no. Yeah, absolutely. Great to have Peter Chappell-Hyam with the really good horse as well. Yeah. He's not had a classy one for a long time.
No, agreed.
Moving on now, there's plenty of other good races on Saturday, including the Sky Bet City of York Stakes, which has been mooted as being moved up to Group 1 status at some point in the future. It's still a Group 2 for now, but it is, of course, over the 7 furlongs, which sees plenty of 7 furlong specialists headlined by the wonderful filly that is One Master for William Haggis, who won the Oak Tree Stakes last time at Glorious Goodwood. She is the favourite in this race and the rightful favourite as well. Safe Voyage, about 3-1 mark. We've also got San Donato there, dropping back from a mile, having run some good races in perhaps better races than this so far this season. And then Beat Le Bon, Brando, Escobar, Shine So Bright, Queen Jojo, who won here last time, and Threat as well. Jack, come to you first this time, mate. What do you like in this?
Well, San Donato really caught the eye in the Sussex at Goodwood. I mean, the way he travelled into it from off the pace, he came there swinging, he clocked some ridiculous splits, making up that ground between the 3 and the 1, and he just flattened out a bit. So the drop back to 7 is going to really suit him. If they go a good clip here, that'll be perfect, and I can just see him tanking into the race and being produced late. So I think he's still got absolutely tons of ability. He's very lightly raced, so I'll be quite confident with San Donato here. One Master she's a cracking filly. She's been a great servant to William Haggis, but I still think this lad's got a bit of upside, so I'll be quite confident taking her on with San Donato.
Lovely stuff, San Donato for Sheikh Obey there, in the same colours as Fujaro Prince later on in the Ebor. Steve, what about you?
Yeah, well, One Master's probably the best horse in the race, and she's getting weight off the colts as well. It doesn't seem fair, really. And I think she'll put that to good use. I mean, like you say, very impressive in the Oak Tree at Goodwood. It's one at the highest level before. I think that weight pull could help. I mean, San Donato, I think Jack's got a good point there, just having a 4th run in over 2 years. So could easily take a big step forward. Another one I like, it's one of my old favourites, Escobar, was a bit unlucky in the Lennox Stakes before taking 3rd. Arguably has his sights lowered a bit here, certainly on the Clash grade, and should run well, but I think One Master will just come out on top again.
One Master for Steve. One Master for me as well. I was so impressed by that potent turn of foot she showed at Goodwood last time. And the last 3 times she's run over 7 furlongs. She's won 2 forays and that race last time. So I think she is the one to catch here. But I like you, Jack. I like San Donato too, dropping back from a mile. I thought he ran a really big race behind Mahatha at Ascot earlier in the season. So I'll be interested to see how he gets on over this 7 furlong trip. Also, on Saturday, we have the Sky Bet and Symphony Group Strensall Stakes, a Group 3. This is a very interesting race with Lord Glitters heading the market for David O'Mara and Danny Tudhope. We've got Pogo up there as well, front runner who ran in a Group 1 company last time. Zabeel Prince, who also brings Group 1 company, Group 1 form to the table, I should say. Dark Vision, Epic Hero, Certain Lad Beringer and Miss O'Connor and Prince AG complete the field here. Templegate, who do you like in this?
Yeah, I don't think you can say Dark Vision's done too much wrong this season. Superb run in the Royal Hunt Cup, and then it did well to win a Pontefract last time where there wasn't much pace on and just used as quality, really. I think this slightly different trip will suit well, and I think should run a good race. I mean, Pogo, I'm a bit wary about front runners at York, but I mean, finishing third in a Group 1 last time is pretty decent form, and ran well in the Hunt Cup as well. Ryan Moore from the front, I mean, maybe he doesn't have to go from the front, but he has been doing. But I think I've got Miss O'Connor as well marked down as another one who I thought who did well last season and was a bit rusty last time. Could run well, but I think Dark Vision can add to the winning tally for the season.
Great stuff. Dark Vision for the Golf in Blue there rediscovered his mojo this campaign, which is always great to see. Jack, what about you?
Yeah, I get Steve's point. You often see over the straight track at York and sprints, the pace normally holds up, but on the round course it can be very difficult to make all. But having said that, I'm a big fan of Pogo. He really has. He's taken his form to another level this year. He was so impressive when he made all Windsor the other day, and he followed it up with a good third at Group 1 level. He's going the right way. He's only a 4-year-old, but there could be more to come. I'll probably take a chance on him. I think you could probably get an each way 6-to-1-ish about him. I think he'll be in the frame, but if he just gets collared late, it may be something like Dark Vision that just comes and nuts him, because we know what a good horse Dark Vision is, and the horse that just beat him at Sandown a couple of runs ago, Montatham, gave the form a little boost. So he's got plenty of strong form this season. So I'll probably just favour Pogo, but wary of Dark Vision.
Great stuff, Jack. Thank you very much for that. 25, the Skybet Melrose Handicap is a very competitive race as well. Favourite Moon heading the market for William Haggis here. Steve, come to you first. Who do you like in this?
My old friend Kipps is running in this, and I'm going to give him another go. Probably will live to regret it. I just think now they've teasing me by stepping him up in trip. That's the latest excuse for backing him. And also, Hughie Morrison was always known for his stayers. So you would think, know if the horse will get home or not. And his best run was at Royal Ascot, where it was over 1.5 miles. So going back up, he's still on a good weight. He's still lightly raced. He's going to win a big race one day. And I want to make sure I'm on, although I'm running out of patience. But I think today, this one could be the day. Favourite Moon with Kieran Fallon on obvious chance. He's got plenty of stamina. Would probably like it a bit softer. And you've got Grand Bazaar, who's been in good form as well, looks well weighted. But I will be having my 50p on Kipps, I think.
Great stuff. Some great selections there from our esteemed panel, Jack and Steve there. Hopefully provided some winners for you this weekend. It's a cracking couple of days of action. Headlined, of course, by the Ebor. And hopefully, at least for me and Steve anyway, by Fujairah Prince. We'll see you all very soon. And thank you very much for watching.
Love it.